Hi, a very good afternoon to all of you, friends of Pioneer Constituency who are tuning in to this Facebook Live projection right here from Frontier Community Club. And of course, some of you who are not just residents, but also friends of Pioneer and who are logging into the Pioneer Community Facebook page. A big welcome. And some of you may be watching this after it's been projected live and watching it through a watch party or subsequent rerun. Big warm welcome to all of you. Here we are today in our monthly Connect Pioneer series. We started this coming to 2 years already, partly because of the pandemic and we couldn't do major events, but I think there's strong demand to hear more on different various table topics and topics of interest and very close to our hearts of all of you. Because all these topics are actually topics which some of you have feedback in our past Connect Pioneer sessions, to get some knowledge, to gain some knowledge and insights over very, very useful topics that concern each and every one of us. And from legal, from finance to end of life planning and the whole works, including on environment and sustainability. We have rolled out, I've lost count the number of Connect Pioneer series and runs that we've done. But today, very specially, we have Paul here with me from Plastics Project, and you'll hear from the bulk of today's sessions from him. but thanks, Paul, for coming all the way to Frontier Community Club.
All good. I was saying that I used to live in NTU, so this is a very familiar place. It's a pleasure to be here, and can't wait to talk to you guys more about what I do.
Yeah, you probably see Paul in other platforms. Yeah, whether on let you do a social media CSI on him, but otherwise here he is in his capacity with the Plastic Project, and why we're very, very big here. As you all know, we have started a Pioneer Sustainability Task Force. In embracing of course the Green Plan. We're being very concerned about climate change. I mean, today, let's look around. Today is June. It's supposed to be hot, but we're getting rain as well. So I think this is not just impacting Singapore, but around the world. And in our community, we have decided to form a small task force looking at sustainability and issues very close to many of our hearts, not just our schools, our partners, even Jurong Point, and even our community volunteers. So we decided to form a sustainability task force. And here we are today, getting Paul on board on this Connect Pioneer series live with all of you. And thanks for all the questions that we have fielded. Later on at the end of the session, after Paul sharing, we will take those questions and hear from him, and of course some sharing of ideas. And if you have any questions, do post them on the comments, and we will try to answer them as contemporaneously as possible within the next hour. And more importantly, I think this whole agenda of climate change and embracing green is a very, very, very big thing. We heard of the various initiatives and programs, and I won't see the thunder from Paul, but you'll hear from him some of the things that he has been embarking on with his team. And really, I'm so glad to have someone who's very, very passionate about this space, the plastic space. That's what he calls the company Plastics Project. But really, this plastic space is something which we are very concerned about, because all of us, myself inclusive, when we buy drinks in PET bottles and stuff like that, we consume, or should I say, we generate a lot of plastic waste. But more than that, I think it's the whole agenda to look after our environment and our climate, and how can we, as residents, individuals, both young and not so young, do our part in the community to embrace this and to make sure that we continue to be sustainable. So therefore, in alignment with this big agenda that Pioneer Constituency, as one big family, as one Pioneer together, is trying to do, to care for our environment, at the same time also connect each and every one of you. We have today's session. So keep the questions coming, and continue to like and share if you are already watching this, or you have just joined us. A big warm welcome and good afternoon. We have with us Paul from the Plastics Project, and without much ado, and not to steal the thunder from him, I'll hand over the mic to Paul to give you he has a nice deck of slides, so I'll leave it to him to share with you, and I'll join you all much later at the end of the program, and to take some of our Q&A and to have a nice chat with all of you and Paul too. Thanks. Paul, out to you.
Oh, thank you. I'll see you in a bit. Hey everyone, my name is Paul Lee. I am actually an actor, but when I'm not on set waving my long hair around, I am the marketing director of the plastic project. I will talk a lot about that today. It's quite coincidental that actually a week before I was actually asked to be on this live stream, I did a workshop at Frontier Primary School, which is actually just around the corner, I think, where we actually brought our plastic injectors to the classrooms. They were actually able to actually inject, melt donated plastics and make products out of recycled plastics itself. They got back coasters and carabiners, and it was a great session because they got to be really hands-on on recycling. People know about recycling, but do you actually know and have a hands-on experience with it? So this is what we offer here at the Plastic Project. Is the screen on? Yeah. Okay, cool. So ultimately, we want to close the plastic loop as a community. We want to tackle the plastic pollution problem. All right. So the Plastic Project is a very community-based initiative. Okay. Our injectors are self-made. We actually receive around 90 kg of donated plastics at our place at Yishun every single week. It's our volunteers and the community and our workshop participants who actually process these donated plastics into products. And I'll explain more of our products later on as well. So who are we? Well, I'm the person on the third person over there. We're actually a group of three. So we have Amber and Eugene, who actually founded it, and I came in after when my acting coach actually came for beach cleanup. So I came in as a volunteer. So funny story. So Amber Sung, she used to be a scuba diving instructor at Bali, Lombok, so parts of Indonesia, as well as Thailand. And whenever she brought her students down into the ocean for scuba diving, all she saw was plastics. And even the fish she ate had plastics inside as well. So she felt very, very motivated, intentional in coming here and actually building a community plastic processing center. Eugene Lee, he is actually our technical director. He is actually the lead guitarist of a band called Stopgap. So he likes to tinker. So tinker is like making things out of like scrap metal and stuff like that. So his first recycled plastic product was actually a guitar pick. And he made a few in his home in an oven. I don't recommend it. There are fumes everywhere. But he made a few and he gave it out to his band members. And that's how he started his plastic processing journey. And that's me, Paulie. I'm an actor. Just this week, I just appeared in Sunny Side Up, Channel 5's long form. So yeah, I'm just juggling between acting and marketing for the Plastic Project. But apart from us, as I said, we are a community. We have a 30, 40 strong team of crew members who are also volunteers. But we reach out to hundreds and hundreds of participants and just part of the community every single month. Just a humble brag, these are just some of the companies and entities that we've worked with. You can see Frontier Primary over there. We've worked with schools such as CHIJ, Kellogg, Manjusri, SJI International. We're working with a lot of corporations for the CSR programs where we do beach cleanups and educational workshops as well. This is all we've done. Actually, there are more, but this has been accomplished within a year since we founded. So I think we've been doing a very, very great job so far. All right, so this is where people get a bit interested. So these are the products that we make. Everything that we make is 100% recycled plastics donated from beach cleanups as well as household goods. So basically through a process of like wash and sort, shredding and melting, we actually make furniture. As you can see, we made a stool out of 2,700 bottle caps. Our trademark are coasters. We make jewelry, accessories, earrings, and so forth, as well as custom products, mainly towards the corporate. So for me, I've got this I hate it when corporates give this really cheap looking gold plated metal or like plaque, and they give it out every quarter. For me, I want to value add to that, because that's that itself has no intrinsic value in itself. So what we are pushing out is that, why don't I collect the donated plastics from your office and let me make something out of that, so that for the awards I can actually give something of intrinsic value. So this is what we're doing. We are dabbling with a lot of furniture. We're making we're making 2 tables for a I can't say the name, but for a very big company. We're making coffee tables. My goal is to actually go to cafes and bars and see countertops and tables and stools made out of our recycled plastics. And we are going to further, to more developed products such as hangers. I model a bit, so I'm trying to go into the fashion industry with buttons and hangers. There are a few hotels coming to us, so we want to make hotel amenities. Think of like trays, think of combs, think of going to a staycay and going back with a door gift, such as a coaster with the hotel branding and the colorway. Our next product is actually plant pots. So we actually get a lot of feedback, thinking because we are like a green initiative, we get a lot of demands for plant pots. So that's something we're working towards. So recycling is a huge part of what we do. As I said, we get 90 kg of plastics per week, and we do process most of it. But if you think about it, it does not really matter what we do with the plastics in terms of recycling in the larger scheme of things, if the public is still held on to their usual habits of overconsumption and improper disposal and waste management. If I'm recycling 90 kg per week and you guys are still living the same lives, it does not matter that much. And that's why education is the second main pillar of the plastic project. We want to really build rational habits, really radical habits. We want to teach the different types of plastics and how you guys are supposed to dispose of it. What happens after we dispose it? I think many of our audience here, we don't really know about that. So, and that's why education workshops is actually a huge part. We do beach cleanups, we do educational webinars, something similar to this. We make a lot of product making workshops where people can come and make their own products. And we actually made mobile injectors, like mobile machines, to go to different places, such as Frontier Primary, for people, for tenants, for mall goers to actually bring their plastic, and we can process that and make a coaster within 5-10 minutes. It's that easy. So before I want to go and hop on to the rest of the slides, I want to talk about how we make plastics. So if you know already, okay, it's made out of hydrocarbons. There's crude oil, there's crude oil, which is made into different types of plastics. Okay, so it goes through a lot of processes, from monomers to polymers to cracking, and that's done within a huge refinery and huge, a huge company, a huge industry. It requires a mold. So, for example, if you look at those kopitiam chairs, now this chair is quite atas, but the ones that kopitiams are actually all plastic, right? So imagine having a huge mold, okay, bigger than the size of a chair, and plastic being squeezed into a mold in order to conform to the shape of the mold. And that's done 24 hours, and there are like chairs coming out, churning out probably every few minutes. So that's how actually plastic products are actually being made. And so let me tell you how we do it. So we're not an industrial entity. We are like a small workshop, but we kind of emulate what you do. So we get, as I said, our plastics from the community, from beach cleanups. We have a 24/7 collection point at our space as well. We go through sorting as well as cleaning. So I'll go through this later on, but there are a few plastic types to take note of. It needs to be clean. So a lot of our donations actually have like, let's say if you donate shampoo or conditioner, or even like a Meiji milk bottle, sometimes milk or shampoo is still inside. So please rinse it before you donate it. So we do have to wash it with water to make sure that it's totally plastic and minimal, contaminants. So after this, we go through cutting. So we actually use scissors to cut it. We need to cut it into a small little piece for it to fit into our shredder. So the shredder, what I like to call it, is an ice kacang machine. So I'm pretty sure everyone has tried ice kacang. It's just like shaved ice. I didn't know it before I came to Singapore, but okay. But basically, you put the plastic, let's say a cut Meiji milk bottle, within the mouth of a shredder, and there's like teeth like that. So it actually cuts and shreds this plastic bottle into small little grains, as you can see right here. So at the mold, you can see green, yellow, and white shreds. Those are really small flakes of plastic. So after that, we actually heat it up. We actually put it into an injector. In Chinese, we call it a 注塑机. So basically, there's a lever. The whole machine is actually heated to around 260 degrees for HDPE type 2 plastics. And we actually press down. So with high pressure and high temperature, we inject molten plastic into a mold to conform to the shape. And basically, we make them into coasters and carabiners and slabs for countertops and coffee table tops. So this slide just shows the recycling framework of what we do. We are, getting sea waste, domestic waste. We are trying to tap into industrial waste. So if I can just kind of intercept corporate waste, that's a lot, and that's a very consistent supply of plastics. So you can take a look there. In red, it says plastic type 2 and 5, and I'll talk about that very, very soon. After that, we cut and shred, and through different types of processes, through injection as well as the CNC. I know some of you guys are engineers there. You know what I'm talking about. We actually cut them into different products. Okay, so I want to ask you guys, what do you think is Singapore's plastic recycling rate in terms of a percentage? So I posed this question to our participants at our workshops, a lot of our webinars, and we get a range of answers. We get skeptics saying 0%. We get, I think the average is around 30%, but we have a lot of optimistic people who say 70, 80%. So if you know the answer, or if you have a guess, please comment down below. And I should just reveal it right now. Okay, so plastic recycling rate in Singapore has been hovering around 4%. Now, guys, if you guys are not like alarmed, there's a problem. We are in Singapore. I think we are a very developed country. This is one of the lowest out of the main waste streams. So we have, aluminum, metal, if you drink beer, please recycle the cans. That's very high. Food waste itself is around 9%, which is relatively higher than this. We have a lot of like initiatives actually collecting back food waste. Let's say for Tiong Bahru Bakery, for example, the bakeries around here, we do have initiatives actually collecting back their orange peels, their fruit peels, as well as their pastries that are going to be expired to make into beer. So if you drink beer, there's like there are pastry stouts which are a bit sweeter, that kind of thing, right? So there are a lot of other main waste streams with high recycling rates, but plastic dough, something that we use at a daily basis, is only at 4%, and it's quite alarming. It has been hovering around 4 to 6. There was one that was like 11 or 12 a couple of years back, but that was quite short-lived. And I want to ask you guys why. Why is recycling so low? Why don't you guys recycle if you don't? Well, I've got some reasons for you guys that I've collected and done some research. So relatively it's quite expensive. There's contamination. So I know a lot of you guys are bubble tea connoisseurs, right? So if you actually drink a bubble tea and let's say you can't finish, there's still some yuan yang, nai cha inside, and maybe a few pearls as well. And you're like, it's okay. I can recycle this, right? It's only a little bit. And you throw it inside the blue recycling bin. If the milk tea actually goes through the whole bin, it actually contaminates the whole thing. So if you remember during the recycling process, we actually melted at 260 degrees. Think of that as a small example. If there are other contaminants, other food waste that's actually put into the whole recycling process, it's a lot to deal with, and the whole process is kind of ruined. Sometimes, if it's too contaminated, they won't go, "Hey, thank you so much for donating. I'm gonna wash this single cup fruit." They won't do that. They're processing tons and tons of plastic. So contamination is a huge problem. It's very labor intensive. There's lack of knowledge. So I wasn't. I was born here, but I wasn't grown up here. I didn't grow up here. Apparently, there should be more education for this. When I ask our workshop participants about plastics, they're still a bit like, yeah, like plastic is bad, but that's all I know. So there's a lot of gaps to be filled. That's what we're trying to focus here at the Plastic Project. Now, what I like to focus on is mixed plastic types, and it is very, very interesting. So, I'm sorry, can I just get a plastic ball over there? Thank you so much. Thank you. All right, so just take a look at this ball and my screen right here. It's a very, very interesting question I like to ask. So look at this ball. Imagine it is completely empty. I finished it. It's clean. Okay, it's rinsed. Everything is clean. And I put this into the blue recycling bin. Maybe in the comments below, tell me, why is this wrong? Or technically wrong? Just think about it, and I'll tell you the reason why in a few seconds. So imagine this is clean. I put it into a blue recycling bin. Technically, it is wrong. And the reason why is because there are mixed plastic types. And let me answer this for you right now. There are 7 types of plastics, or rather there are 1,000 types of plastics, but there are 7 categories. All right, I'll go through them very, very quickly. PET, HDPE, PVC, LDPE, PP, PS, and others. I'll go through them very, very quickly. All right, so how you know is through the triangular identification number at the top or at the bottom of your container. So here it says PT1. Okay. So PET are your water bottles. Okay, Dasani, Ice Mountain, Evian. 2, high density polyethylene, HDPE. So this is something that we collect at the Plastic Project. These are Meiji Mint bottles. If you guys go to the gym, protein bottles, medicine bottles, they're very, very durable and a bit thick, right? So it also consists of your bottle caps, because you actually need a lot of force to actually twist it. So you can't use, technically you can't use another plastic type, to make this. We have type 3. Now, type 3 is your PVC. A lot of your water pipes, they are very, very thick. They're actually very toxic to recycle. If you heard of PVC, you might have heard of like PVC, like leather, like fake leather, like the sofa, furniture, shoes, bags. That's, fake leather, like plastic. Okay. There is LDP, so that's low density polyethylene. So we had type 2, high density polyethylene. Type 4 is LDP, right? So that's a lot of your thin films of your plastic bags. Five is your polypropylene. Now this is very interesting because we have a huge Taobao culture. Am I right? Am I right? We Taobao everywhere, and it's just everywhere, right? I mean, yeah. So especially during COVID, we Taobao like every single day, right? We have a lot of packaging. We get Grab Food, Deliveroo, Food Panda. What's interesting is that actually I'm in this room right now, and there are a few people here. They're all wearing the same type of masks. Your mask is not made out of cotton or whatever. It's actually made out of polypropylene. Your mask is the same material as your Taobao container, but your Taobao container is what we call, ironically, woven polypropylene, and your mask is called non-woven, although it looks woven. So we actually do recycle polypropylene. We do make coasters out of masks as well, but we're still experimenting with that. Okay, 6 is polystyrene. If you buy a washing machine, all 4 corners have to be protected. This cannot be recycled in Singapore at least, so don't put it into the blue recycling bin. And last but not least, 7, others. So those are like composites, 3D printing, your Lego toys. Those are very, very specific types of plastic. So, sorry, back to this. Why plastic recycling rate is so low is because this is PET, type 1. This wrapper around here, type 4 probably, maybe a type 5. This cap right here is a type 2. Every plastic type requires a different process to recycle. It's been made differently, and it will be disposed and recycled differently as well. Some cannot be recycled. So if you put this inside, other recycling workers are gonna go, thank you so much for donating. I'm gonna take this out one by one for you. If they're, if it's a good day, maybe. If they're in a good mood, maybe, but probably not. And they've got tons of plastic to recycle. So this is just one of the examples why plastic recycling is so complex and the rate is so low. And yeah, this is just some examples, as I said before. And yeah, so this is why we only set types 2 and 5. Now, type 2, your bottle caps and your Meiji milk bottles are actually one of the safest plastics to actually melt. We don't burn, we melt. So there's only a bit of fumes when we actually melt it. Okay. Of course, we need a well-ventilated room, but it's actually very safe as well. Now, type 5 though, type 5 are your Taobao containers and your mask. Those actually emit a bit more fumes, but as I said, we want to tackle the Taobao culture here in Singapore. That's why we accept and we melt them into different products, especially jewelry, because your Taobao containers are a bit glossy, so it adds to the look. Sorry. Oh, all right. Now, as I said before, your Taobao containers and all, we do have a lot of keyboard warriors at the Plastic Project, who they tell us, guys, plastic is bad. I support you guys, but for this earth to be saved, whatever that means, plastic has to be banned forever. No plastics at all. Then don't use your phone now. Then don't use your laptop now. Don't use this camera now. Right? It does not make sense. Okay. So there are some necessary at least single-use plastics that that we actually need. I think single-use plastics is a huge area that we need to tackle on, but there are some that needs to be that are necessary. Okay. For example, we have people with disabilities. People say, hey guys, let's ban straws. Some people might need straws, right? We need to be inclusive. We need to consider other people as well. Right now we're taking ARTs, that kind of thing. There's a lot of plastic waste, but it is necessary. People who are actually experimenting with, the pets and everything in the lab to actually help us with COVID need plastics. It is a single use or one use because you can't be contaminated with viruses and all, but it is necessary. Okay, lower income communities, some people can't afford your, your your collapsible cup, for example, or a metal straw. Some people just can't afford it, and that's fine. Food packaging. Plastic has its uses. It will conform to whatever shape it is. It is cheap. Back in the old times, you used to use like metal tins to contain and maintain the temperature of like food. We have plastic now, so let's not live in old times. But yeah, as you can see, let's be inclusive. Let's think about it. We are not extremists here at the Plastic Project. Plastic is good for some things, for some applications. Now, I love this question, and I posed this too many times, but you guys have probably not heard of it before. Okay, so imagine you guys are at Sheng Siong and TUC. I'm not sure what you guys have here at Frontier, at Pioneer, but imagine you're at a supermarket and you forgot your bag and you bought a lot of stuff, too much stuff, and you forgot your bag and you need a bag. You can't just, put it on your shirt, then you bring it home or whatever, okay? And the counter person, they offer you a plastic bag, a paper bag, and a cotton tote bag. Which do you think is the most environmentally friendly option? Imagine they're all free, same price. Which do you think is the most environmentally friendly option? Plastic, paper, and cotton. If you want, you can just put your answers at the chat box below, okay? So I posed this question to a lot of our like webinar participants. I just did one regional environmental forum with Timberland, with Property Guru, with a few big companies, banks, for example. And I asked this question, and I think quite similarly to you guys, you would answer with the cotton tote bag or the paper bag. Am I right? No one would choose the plastic bag. But I'm gonna challenge you guys. Okay. So the bag that we choose at the Plastic Project, the bag that we preach, is the plastic bag. And you guys are going like, hey, you guys are the Plastic Project. Why are you advocating for this? Well, I've got my answer, okay, and I'll reason out with you. Well, of course, the best bag is the bag you already have, okay? But for the materials itself, we have to engage or approach this question with what we call the life cycle assessment or analysis. If you were to make a cotton tote bag, the first step you would do is to actually deforest the land. You have to plant the seeds, the cotton seeds. You have to have machinery, manpower, water. Okay, I feel a bit guilty right now, but to make this cotton shirt requires gallons and gallons of water to make. I'm sure you guys have heard this before. Cotton is a very thirsty crop. For paper, now paper, you don't just grow paper at any tree at Frontier CC. You need paper trees. They are also very, very water intensive. Now, plastic bags, though, have been made so efficient, so effective, and so cheap. We actually make them here as well, right, in Singapore. It's like printing money. We have a few like industries at Tuas actually, just printing money, or rather printing plastic bags. It is very, very cheap. It's very, very fast. For cotton, though, do we have cotton fields here in Singapore? We don't. We normally import them from Malaysia, Indonesia, actually anywhere that's actually cheap. If China, if Europe actually sells cotton tote bags without a shipping fee, yeah, why not? If I'm a businessman, why not? I'll just import those. So the fuel, the energy taken to actually import them here is a lot. You think of the carbon footprint and everything, but plastic is made here. There was a report saying that you need to reuse your cotton tote bag 150 times to offset one plastic bag. I'll say it again. You need to use the cotton tote bag 150 times to offset one plastic bag. And it's even worse if it's an organic cotton tote bag. So when people say organic, it means no pesticides. Hey, that's great, right? It's ethical, but that means that more resources have to be put inside to actually fulfill that 1,000 cotton tote bag order. That's actually more energy put inside to it, right? So if you think about it, the plastic bag uses the least water, and uses the least energy. Of course, exploitation of crude oil and everything, but there was a report saying that it is arguably the most environmentally friendly option. So what's the problem there? The problem is that we have this conception that plastic is bad, especially after we watched that video on YouTube, on Facebook, of that turtle with the straw inside the nostril. And everyone's, oh, guys, plastic is bad. No more plastic. Well, that's a misconception. Plastic has uses. It was actually made and mass scaled because too much wood and cotton was being, like too much trees were being chopped down. Plastic was the alternative. But its complacency, its overconsumption, overproduction, and our complacency to just take, since it's so convenient, that is actually, that's overwhelmed with this plastic problem. And it's even worse when we put it into our waterways and into our oceans. You guys might be thinking, plastic what? I don't care. I mean, it doesn't affect me. Well, there was a report that because microplastics are being eaten by fish, and you know how we have Japanese stores here, we eat sashimi, we eat udon, whatever. Plastics actually come into us. We ingest plastics. We actually ingest 5 grams of plastic per week. There was a report for that. 5 grams of plastic per week. You guys might be thinking, it's 5 grams, it's okay, right? For perspective, for a visual image, 5 grams is a credit card. You ingest a credit card per week of plastic. So let that just sink into your mind right now. So it does affect you, right? It does affect you. In schools, I've heard that you guys are being taught the 3 R's. Okay, there's reuse, reduce, and recycle. What we preach is to actually, I mean, this falls under reduce as well, but to actually refuse at the start. Refuse means to, for example, if they give out a straw, auntie, 我不要吸管, or if they give out like a cotton tote bag or a plastic bag, if you don't need it, don't take it. 你不要拿, right? Something I preach is to BYO, is to bring your own. And I think this is a message that that Mr. Patrick Tay has talked about a few times as well. But actually bring your own utensils, bring your own metal straw, bamboo straw, bring your own containers, bring your own shopping bag, right? Because let's say your cotton tote bag, it needs to be used 150 times. Well, you're probably going to use it more than 150 times, right? So try to bring as many of these. It's not that heavy, it's not that spacious, right? Everything is quite compact these days. So yes, refuse. Now, what we do at the Plastic Project, just to sum it up, we're trying to advocate for, so when participants come, they're not just washing and sorting, they're not just shredding, they're not just injecting plastic into products. They're actually advocating for something much bigger. And this concept is called the circular economy. The circular economy, I feel, is a very idealistic concept, something we're trying to work towards, okay? It's this concept where every part of the process, from the use of materials to product design, to manufacturing, even disposal and everything, right, has reusability in mind, has environmental in mind. So the linear traditional way of waste management is that you take, you make, you use, and then you dispose it. Now in Singapore, we like to incinerate and landfill, or we actually export it out to JB. JB processes a lot of our waste actually. If you guys don't know, we also make a fair amount of synthetic clothing and other products, but I'm not too sure, and it's not very out there as well. The circular economy is where we design it, we make it, we use it, but instead of putting it to the incinerator, we actually bring it back into the loop. So every plastic that's been donated to the plastic project and made into products, their fate was meant to be in the landfill. But we're actually prolonging the life, we're giving it value, we're giving it practicality. If you guys are into fashion, you can consider circular fashion, for example. Heard of Kloop, Fashion Pulpit, thrift stores? I think there's a lot of fabric going around, for example. If you can donate your plastic to, let's say, donate your clothes to Kloop, for example, and you get back 5 clothes that are new and might be fashionable as well. So this is just an example of the circular economy, and it's just something that we're trying to advocate as well. Okay, I'm gonna wrap up with this question. 2019 was pre-COVID. 2020 was when COVID kind of happened, right? Do you think that plastic waste generation increased or decreased? Maybe I can ask the people here. Do you think it increased or decreased? Plastic waste generation. Okay, I see a lot of like hands up. Okay, cool. Yeah, so that is the whole consensus, right? It increased. So when I ask questions, I like to have a little twist. It actually decreased. Plastic waste generation decreased from pre-COVID to COVID. And people are like, wait, I ordered from GrabFood, Taobao, I got a lot of furniture. The furniture industry boomed during COVID. GrabFood, I said that already. There's a lot of packaging, right? But that's just domestic waste. There's industrial waste as well. So all the industries during COVID, they halted production because of COVID. The dormitory workers couldn't work. There was global demand and supply just dropped a lot. And plastic waste is not just product, it can be wastage as well. So it actually decreased because of the COVID situation. My point is that we preach that individual action is so important. Guys, don't use that straw. Don't dabao, please dabao, but with your container, right? Like with your own container. Don't use these like plastic like cutlery. Yes, it makes a difference, but from this example, you can see the huge magnitude of impact and significance, right? Done by the big industries that, as I said, are turning out your kopitiam chairs 24/7 with the huge molds, right? And it's a very, very sobering truth. We have huge F&B companies going, you guys are not recycling well, but they're the ones making all the bottles, right? Just something to think about. My point is that although we need to do our part, and we do, we need to have a bigger influence, bigger impact from bottom up, so that the huge, so that all the agencies, I think government's doing a pretty good job right now, but the big corporations to actually have a radical change, because they're the ones actually making bulk the plastics. There's demand and supply, and we need to kind of shift that focus as well. So back when I was young, there was a drink stall uncle who just gave out plastic cups. I was like, hey uncle, 你不要这样子可以吗？啊，你用这个 glass 那个玻璃杯可以吗？哎呀，不要啦！哎呀，小孩不懂，小孩不懂。So what I did was I asked the headmaster. Then the headmaster told the uncle. The uncle, okay. So from that day on, he served glass balls instead. My point is that without this ground up initiative, without this bottom up initiative, the headmaster wouldn't know, and the drink stall uncle who represents the corporations can be affected in that way. So individual action matters, but it's the big corporations that really need to be shifted and influenced. Yeah, so what can we do? So something I want to preach, okay? I don't own much clothes. I'm a minimalist, and I would like to preach to you guys. Try to be a minimalist. I'm not saying please Marie Kondo everything. If it does not spark joy, you throw things away. Being a minimalist is not about the number of things you have in your room or your wardrobe. It's not about the number of things. It's about the value of things. It's about investing in the right furniture, investing in clothes that you actually wear at a very, very regular frequency, instead of going to Shein or Taobao, whatever. Why not you go to actually a physical store, make sure that it's all right, make sure that it's something that you want and need, can use for a long time, and buy that. That's being a minimalist. A lot of our, let's say Shein and Shopee, whatever, a lot of the clothing, a lot of our clothing stores, when you actually return it, some of them don't actually bring it back into the rack. They actually dispose of it. And just think about the carbon footprint when it comes over and stuff like that. So clothing is one example. For plastic, for furniture, just a general lifestyle actually. Try to be a minimalist and just invest in things that you actually need. And that's all I have for now. If you have any questions, you can always go to our Instagram, The Plastic Project. And if you want us to, do a workshop or just talk, you can email us as well at hello@theplasticproject.sg. Thank you.
Hey, thanks, Paul. And wow, time flies.
That was a
Real fast.
That was
45
40. That was pretty
I
fast.
think Paul didn't really feel it because we're so passionate about sharing it.
I get a bit too hyped up sometimes. So yes, but yeah, I love
But it was great because I just sitting there behind the camera, I was picking up lots of pointers, and also things were running in my mind. I think Paul has managed to challenge us. Of course, I didn't realize there are 6 different kinds and the numbers on our bottle.
7.
Yeah, and the others.
Oh yeah, I know.
Yeah. So I thought it's really useful information, and I didn't realize so much going into plastic recycling and the different techniques and types. And of course, the 4R, you all know, you heard it from him. The reviews is something which we've been advocating and been trying very hard with our various programs, activities, including giving some of your some of these disposable containers, so should I say non-disposable containers, reusable containers for you to bring your own. Yeah, I think if you're trying that in more ways than one, and I think the message has come quite clearly to many of us, particularly the past 2 years when we had to tap out much more and start realizing that wow, we're generating so much plastic. Each time we look at the amount of things for me, I try to differentiate my refuse.
Oh, good.
The recyclables, and I realized that I generated a lot of recyclables, particularly in the past 2 years, more than ever. And my family is quite big into this, and but I didn't realize the bottle, there are 3 different kinds of plastics in the bottle, and the extent to go into it. And that was a great conversation, Paul, that you really brought up about is it plastic bag, cotton tote bag, or paper bag, and really keeps us thinking whether is it the right move to really do away with plastic bags altogether and really go into tote bags, because we also realized that in the community, each time we give out the recyclable bags and realize I think we better stop this because everyone is having to recycle their recycle bags because they have much too many of them, and I think this one is enough, one that's durable, and the parting shot on Minimalist also. I also have a limited wardrobe,
Right.
And yep, buy what you need and buy what you love.
Right.
I think sometimes maybe it's something that's a bit more expensive, but otherwise something that you want to wear frequently. I think these are different ideas.
Actually, think about it in terms of like finance, right? If you actually invest in something more expensive, in the long term though, instead of buying the same product, which is maybe 10% cheaper, but it doesn't last, it's actually more worthwhile. Yeah. And one thing I want to talk about was like the plastic bag. I think generally in Singapore, we're like eco warriors. At least my mom is, because we normally put plastic bags, and then hang at the doorknob. So I think plastic bags it's fine, but you gotta tell them to actually reuse it. Don't just take and then throw away, right? So we're not extremists. Just be practical. Just think about it. That's what we want to, make known of. Yeah.
Where possible, find ways, innovative and creative ways, and I'm glad Paul and his team and the plastic project is finding new, innovative, meaningful, breakthrough ways to really recycle, upcycle, and reuse some of this into very, very nice niceties. And really, I really hope we will have the opportunity to work with Paul and the plastic project team to bring some of these initiatives here in Frontier Community Club and our pioneer community. And like I said, today is a session to acquaint you with Paul and team and our big drive towards sustainability. I think we can do more programs, activities, and we, in fact, now that we are rounding up and with the Q&A, and a big thank you to Jackie, Malin, and Mark for your questions that came in. I'll start posing them to Paul and us too. But a big thank you for making time to send in. These are actually our residents living here in Pioneer constituency, and there's some questions, and to kind of like reward you for fielding a question, asking a question. We're gonna send you some packet of seeds to grow your
seeds.
Own, your own and sustainable farming.
Oh, nice.
At home. So we'll send you some seeds. We have your contacts, and we'll touch base with the three of you.
What do they grow into?
So the thing is going to give you a big surprise. We don't tell you what it's going to be, but something that is going to excite you. We're going to give you some nice stuff to grow at your own comfort of your apartment. Yeah. And let's go to the questions. I think one of the questions was, what uses most plastic in Singapore? Or what uses most plastic in Singapore, and what uses most plastic in Singapore? That's one question. Second one is, why must be plastic and not other materials, for example, packaging, construction? I think Paul touched a bit on that, but maybe through your experience, Paul, the plastics that are coming in that you see and interact with, what contributes to one big, heavy production of plastic?
So at the plastic project, we only accept types 2 and 5. So we get a lot of 5s. As I said, 5s are your polypropylene, a lot of your Tupperware containers. We get a lot of Tupperware containers. It's easy to process, but it's a lot.
What happens when it's a bit soiled? Because some of these plastic containers are maybe something some food waste.
Yeah.
So that's a big challenge, I have as well.
Yeah, I mean, I have to thank the people who actually donate, because we actually made it clear to actually rinse. I have not seen a mala stained Tupperware container yet. So yeah, thanks for that. But actually, like statistically and like globally, LDPE, so like polyethylene, especially low density, that's type 4. LDPE are your plastic bags, or a lot of your thin films. That is actually the easiest plastic to make. It has a very short polymer chain, and it's very cheap to make as well, because it does not take that much processes and temperature to make. So that statistically is the most produced and popular plastic. Yeah.
So yeah, actually Paul brought as he was sharing, I kind of came to my mind the importance of know what you can or cannot put in the blue bin. We have actually put more than 80 recycling points here in Pioneer constituency. Of course the blue bins, and we have actually put huge ones, because some of you have big things to recycle. Particularly if you are, especially during festive, just before festive period, when you clear ups and stuff like that, or year end after exams are over, finding ways to upcycle your books and your notes and materials, and here we are quite big on this. Besides the blue bins, the smaller blue bins, we have actually a huge one, so that pests and other creatures can go inside and try to pilfer and stuff. And and they are available right in our community. They're quite visible, so you can and they are cleared quite frequently by the recyclers. At the same time, also here at London Community Club, we're quite big on it. Paper recycling partnership with the Southwest community. Plastic bottle recycling as well. Jurong Point has a machine there, or should I say, only last interchange as well. And we have various initiatives here, but I think just a word of caution. In fact, I put it up on my social media and our Thailand community channels as well. That be mindful to clean your containers and remove them until sometimes you drink a bottle of PET bottle of Coke, and then you leave like quite a bit of Coke there still, and then you throw it in the recycle bin. I think that does not help. So I appeal to all of you, as what Paul shared earlier, if you can dispose and clear those, a quick rinse. Don't use more water, but a quick rinse before you actually recycle some of these items, and don't leave them together with other trash and soil items. So take note. There's actually a nice sticker outside most of these bins to tell you what can be recycled and what can't be recycled. It's very important. You'll be surprised. I was surprised too when I received the collateral and I was putting out on my social media platforms. And do take note of things that can be recycled and cannot be recycled.
Yes. I mean, for plastics itself, there are 7 types. For you guys who bake in the audience, you would never want to mix low quality flour and high quality flour. There are very different types of flour, different types of processes to make. So yeah, you never want it to like explode or like whatever. Yeah. Something I want to challenge you one more time. Sorry, yeah, a little challenging, but sometimes if let's say it's like oil stained, there is like motor oil or even mala, right? And you want to recycle it. Once again, think about the life cycle assessment and like its fate and the water usage. If it takes a lot of water to wash the mala off, maybe don't, because you might need more resources to wash than to make the whole product itself. Just something to think about. I don't know how much mala is on your Taobao container right now, but just something to think about before you recycle.
Thanks, Paul. There's another question. Sounds a bit oxymoronic, but what's the most environmentally friendly plastic? I mean,
oh yeah, that's a very, very good question. Okay, yeah, that's a very, very good question. So when we talk about environmentally friendly plastics, we normally involve it with things that are actually made from renewable sources or can be brought down to its natural constituents, hopefully. So there are actually 3 types of groups of polymers that we call environmentally friendly plastics. So number 1 is our biodegradable plastics. Second, our bioplastics. The third one are our recycled plastics. So I'll just go through them very, very quickly. Bioplastics are actually made from natural constituents. So, for example, there are plastics that are being designed and actually commercialized as well that are made out of like seaweed. They're normally starch-based, so made out of like corn, potato. Yeah, so those can actually most of them should be able to break down naturally, right? Now, biodegradable plastics, number 2, they are partially or fully made from non-renewable, should be partially made from renewable and non-renewable constituents to make a product. So with the help of additives, with the help of chemical additives, it helps to make the decomposition faster, maybe from light, heat, like temperature or whatever. I'm not gonna throw shade and name names, okay, but there are a lot of companies, and I think you would know too, that are actually bringing out biodegradable cups, bowls, utensils, which is a very, very good start. But, sorry guys, there's always a but. They can only be broken down under certain circumstances, certain conditions. If you throw a biodegradable cup, for example, onto the grass in front of Frontier CCA and expect it to grow into a tree, it won't happen because it requires a certain temperature, condition, moisture that only a biodegradable facility, biodegradation facility can offer. In a natural environment, it won't break down. So if you think about it in Singapore, when people are giving out these biodegradable utensils, I'm sorry, it's greenwashing, right? You don't have that in Singapore. So I don't know what they're doing. I don't know how it's meant to be disposed because it's still going to go to the incinerator landfill. So although they mark themselves as green with biodegradable stuff, I don't see the point. So that's something a bit sobering as well. There's a lot of greenwashing going on.
So the importance of refuse. Refuse it where possible.
Yes. I mean, yeah, but yeah. And for the past project, we try to instill these kind of knowledges, as in these tips, these greenwashing myths that these companies are bringing out and they're green and everything, but are they? So there's something to think about. So the third one, is recycled products. So that's something that we're doing, for example. It's something that the government is doing actually. So I'm not sure if you have it here. I'm not too sure. I don't come here often, but there are a lot of malls with vending machines where you can actually deposit your PT.
Yes, we have one.
Sweet. Yeah.
Two, actually.
Oh, nice. Good. So you can actually put in your PT, your water bottles into it, and then you get points or credit. Yeah. So that's called recycling. So PT can be made into RPT, or rather, recycled PT. So the good thing about PET is that if you recycle it, the quality stays very, very similar. But what we do at the plastic project, we don't technically recycle, we downcycle. We downcycle, major milk bottles type 2 and type 5, because the quality does not stay the same. It actually degrades. It will never be as good as virgin major milk bottle plastic. But that's still one of the types of an environmentally friendly plastic. So biodegradable plastics, bioplastics, and recycled plastics. Hope that answers this for you.
Thanks, Paul. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, we just hit 2:03, and
well,
time flies.
Yeah.
And a big thank you to all of you for tuning in to today's Connect Pioneer live, and for those who are going to watch this or are watching this as sort of like a rerun or a watch party. Thanks for listening to Paul and myself, and of course we are so happy to be here sharing you some pointers and tips and some of the revelations today from Paul. Definitely it's a good wake-up call to some of us, including myself, and bringing us new knowledge. And of course, a big thank you to our residents who have sent in your questions and for participating. You see the screen and your QR code. Can you please don't fill that out? Let us know what you hope to hear, see, or learn about in the future sessions of Connect Pioneer, something which we do monthly. And we hope to bring this to you live here from the Frontier Community Club. And do look out. I know one of the questions was, what kind of events in this green and sustainability space that we're doing. Definitely you will hear more from us through the various collaterals, through our social media platforms, for example, like Pioneer Community Telegram, Pioneer Community Insta, as well as Facebook, as well as my own platforms. We do share very contemporaneously some of the updates, programs, activities, things that we're doing. Just community activities as well as things that we're doing in this sustainability front. Do look out for them because we are partnering the community, the schools, Jurong Point, as well as the various groups, interest groups here in the Pioneer community, including going to be with Paul and the Plastic Project as well. See more what we can do for all of you, so that you all can partake in some of these activities and pick up some useful tips, learn some stuff, inspire the younger ones, or even inspire the not so young ones to come along in this whole sustainability agenda. And on that note, a big thank you to Paul for coming all the way here to Frontier Community Club and sharing very, very useful and very enlightening information on the plastics project, as well as things that I definitely learned more about plastic today than ever.
Oh, it's not too heavy.
Yeah.
It was a lot.
Yeah, and really in a digestible way, and with lots of illustrations. So a big thank you to Paul, and thank you to all of you for watching and tuning in, and my team behind the camera, and a group of our community volunteers powering this. And if any of you want to volunteer to help us to run future editions or have ideas or are willing to come forward to be part of our Connect Pioneer series, do drop us a line and message, and or even in comments on the Pioneer Community Facebook page. On that note, a very good afternoon to all of you. Stay healthy, stay safe, and stay green.